The Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles are still hungrier than ever, and their next set of moves could create a nightmare scenario for the rest of the NFL. As first off, we got some big updates regarding the Birds' plans in the upcoming NFL draft that are pretty exciting, and one potential move in particular would make the Eagles' defense so much scarier. Meanwhile, Jeffrey Lurie discussed the Birds' overall long-term plan, and if they pull it off, then Philly's Super Bowl window could be open for years to come. Plus, a big extension for Nick Sirianni looks to be coming very soon, and why could this Eagles young defender be gearing up for a true breakout season? Well, we're going to talk about that and all the other latest news starting right now. The quest for an Eagles repeat is officially on, as now nearly 2 months after the Birds won Super Bowl 59, the celebration's over and they're now fully locked in on trying to do it all again next season.
It's actually, in my experience, going back to Mount Union, hunger was the winning, and winning it all produced more. Like, you just got the taste of what winning was, and it produced more. We're to a point now where the celebration is over, right? The celebration of the Super Bowl is over. And I know that there'll be people, I know BG and Saquon throughout the first pitch, and then we'll have our ring ceremony and all that, but our preparation is here.
I got to say, an interesting sort of look at oneself. I feel like I'm just as hungry, if not more now, for a third. It's ever since the parade, I don't know that there's been one day where, we're not discussing something that's in terms of the planning process to try to get a third. It's nonstop. It's a burning desire to get that third, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I mean, you heard it there, both from Nick and Jeffrey. Last season was amazing, no doubt about it, but now the celebration's over and they're focused and hungrier than ever to reach the mountaintop once again. And right now, the Birds are currently just hard at work trying to fill out the rest of this roster so that they can do what most champions fail to do, and that's repeat this coming season. And General Manager Howie Roseman literally just confirmed at the NFL's annual meetings that the Eagles aren't done making moves yet, and they still have a long way to go before this roster is complete. And whether there are any more notable signings coming or significant acquisitions via trade, that remains to be seen, but what we do know is that a huge part of the Eagles roster building plan lies in the NFL draft. As of course, with a lot of players on big contracts and more extensions on the way, the draft is going to be absolutely crucial in helping the Birds add talent that can contribute while also not having to spend very much money. And on that front, the Birds have officially scheduled their next few top 30 visits ahead of the draft, one of them being with yet another Georgia Bulldog, an interior offensive lineman Dylan Fairchild. So not a huge surprise there because, one, the Birds obviously love Georgia Bulldogs, but also a lot of the Eagles' top 30 visits so far have been with offensive and defensive linemen. So, obviously Fairchild fits that bill, and as a potential day 3 prospect, he's a guy that's pretty exciting given the fact that, one, he started 24 games in college, and while he's primarily a left guard, starting 14 games there last year, he does have the versatility to play both guard positions. Plus, he was also named second-team All-American and second-team All-SEC last year. And he does a lot of things well, particularly being a very good pass blocker and playing with valuable physicality and violence. So he would definitely be an intriguing player to add to Jeff Stoutland's group just to provide depth in the interior. Or, best-case scenario, maybe he could bring some competition for Tyler Steen at right guard. And then moving on, the Eagles also scheduled another top 30 visit, as according to Jake Rabati of the Liberty Line, Texas A&M defensive tackle Shemar Turner will be visiting with Philly. And Turner's another really intriguing prospect, and he's got a lot of awesome traits, as he has an extremely quick first step, he's got good athleticism, great hand usage, he plays with relentless effort, he's got a high motor, and he's got a ton of potential as a pass rusher. Plus, as Anthony DeBona pointed out, he was used in a way that's very similar to how Milton Williams was used in college, lining up all over the defensive line. So he would likely be a great fit into Vic Fangio's defense given the versatility he has, and it could definitely make sense to bring Turner to Philly and have him try and replace Milton Williams' role in production along with Moro Ojomo. Now, sure, Turner does have some developing to do, but as does any other rookie, and putting him next to Jalen Carter and the other good pass rushers the Eagles have, while also being coached by Vic Fangio and Clint Hurt, would only help him to eventually realize his full potential. So, again, as a day 2 pick, I think he would definitely be a solid option. However, if I can have my choice of defensive tackles from this draft to realistically pair alongside Jalen Carter, then I'd have to go with Ole Miss's Walter Nolen, because that guy is just an absolute monster, as he's another prospect with great athleticism, a really quick first step, he's got good versatility to move around on the defensive line, he plays super physical, he's been a productive pass rusher in college and can also stop the run, and honestly, he kind of reminds me a little bit of a mini Jalen Carter with what I've seen from him, and he just looks like a potential star in the making. So if you could somehow find a way to get him at 32 or maybe trade up or something to get him and then pair him next to Jalen Carter, then I think that'd be an absolutely perfect fit and something that would make the Eagles defense so much scarier. And ESPN's Matt Bowen seems to feel the same way, as in a recent article, he named the Eagles as the best fit for the Ole Miss star, saying, quote, "The Eagles could add more disruptive talent to the defensive front with Nolen, an explosive mover who can create backfield havoc. His tape is loaded with impact plays, 6.5 sacks, and 12.5 tackles for loss last season, and he'd give coordinator Vic Fangio another interior defender with 3-down ability. That's important now that Philly has lost Milton Williams in free agency." So again, I definitely agree with Bowen there. And also another interesting point that I just thought of, Jordan Davis is obviously kind of in an interesting situation right now, having that 5th-year option, and we don't know if the Eagles are going to pick that up or not, and even if they do, there's still another big question mark in the sense that will they give Jordan Davis a big contract extension to keep him here for a long time? We don't know. So the defensive tackle position definitely could be an even bigger need depending on what happens with him. So if you could get a guy like Nolen in here, say 1st-round pick, and have him for 4 years plus that 5th-year option, that'd be absolutely amazing because you know your defensive tackle room is going to be set for years to come with obviously the Jalen Carter extension coming and also with Nolen being on a rookie contract for a long time. So, overall, Nolen is definitely one of my dream draft targets. Now, I don't know how realistic it is, but if Howie can just somehow find a way to make it happen, then again, I would absolutely love it. And honestly, overall, I'm just really excited to see what young players the Eagles add through the draft that could potentially become long-term pieces here. I mean, we've seen over the past few seasons just how many great players the Birds have drafted that are going to be long-term pieces. Obviously, many of them already have big contract extensions. And based on everything that's happened this offseason and also after what Jeffrey Lurie just said on Tuesday, a lot more extensions are set to get handed out very soon.
We want to win, and we want to win big. And the way to win consistently and to win big is to plan for the contracts you're going to have to give to your best young players. And we want to retain our best young players as we going forward. It's impossible if you draft well to do that. So we want to make sure we're aggressive at being able to sign players early that we think are core players for the future.
So you're saying the letting guys walk in free agency and then signing guys to just 1 year kind of low cost deals is more has to do with the future contracts than you have to do with all the cash that you.
Oh yeah, totally. It has all to do with re-signing your best young players in their prime. That's the entire goal there.
Yeah, so for anybody that may have still been freaking out, there's your confirmation. The Birds do have a long-term plan, and it revolves around young guys like a Jalen Carter or a Cam Jurgens or Nolan Smith, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, etc., or whoever they may draft this year or in the next couple years, and signing as many of those guys as possible to long-term extensions. And yes, it's a harsh reality. Like, the Eagles are going to lose players, they already have, and more tough decisions will be made in the future, but at the end of the day, this is the cost of winning, and if the Eagles can identify who they want to be their core pieces and just keep them here for as long as possible, then that's going to keep their Super Bowl window open for the foreseeable future. So I'm certainly excited to see how everything plays out over these next several off seasons, and for this offseason specifically, I'm definitely expecting an extension or two in the next few months, and again, I'm also really excited to see who they bring in during the draft. So make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel and you have notifications turned on because I'm going to be covering it all. Speaking of extensions though, one guy who 100% is going to get one of those this offseason is head coach Nick Sirianni, as the Super Bowl champion coach is set to enter the final year of his current deal, which has paid him an average of $7 million a season, and that ranks 16th in the league, while some of the other top coaches or even some of the newer head coaches are being paid anywhere from $12 million a year all the way up to Andy Reid's $20 million a season. So not only is Sirianni due a very well-deserved pay raise, but it just wouldn't make any sense for the Eagles to let him coach out his contract, knowing that Nick 100% deserves to be their guy moving forward. So again, a contract extension is definitely coming soon, especially after Jeffrey Lurie just hinted at it in his presser on Tuesday. Yeah, I mean, again, a Sirianni extension is coming, and Adam Schefter actually revealed what that may look like in a recent appearance on 97.5 The Fanatic, as he said that he thinks they would give Sirianni an extra 3 years added onto his current deal. So that would keep him under contract as the coach in Philadelphia all the way through the 2028 season, and I'd be all for that. I mean, heck, I'm not going to complain about the guy who's never missed the playoffs, has gone to 2 Super Bowls, and won one of them in his 4 years as head coach, no matter what the contract looks like, because Full disclosure, I already made my fair share of stupid comments about Nick after last season, so I honestly hope he gets as much money as possible because nobody deserves it more than him. Plus, head coach salaries also don't impact the salary cap, so we'll see what happens, but again, a big contract extension is certainly in the works for Nick Sirianni. Getting back to the Eagles' offseason plans though, obviously, a big part of what they're going to have to do moving forward with just letting some of these guys walk in free agency is going to be relying on younger players, and one guy who I'm specifically really excited about is edge rusher Jalyx Hunt, because last year after he was drafted, I feel like we all kind of saw him as a long-term project coming out of Houston Christian, being a smaller school, and also just having been a safety a couple years prior, yet towards the end of the season, he really started to play significant snaps in Vic Fangio's defense and make a real impact. And by the playoffs, Hunt was playing his best ball, as he put up 1.5 sacks, which matched his regular season total, and he really was just a menace getting after the quarterback all postseason long. So now, given a bigger role next year and having even more time to develop, I feel like we could really see a massive Nolan Smith-esque leap from him, and Hunt himself certainly seems ready for the opportunity, as even though he's sad to see some of his teammates like Josh Sweat leave, he told Olivia Reiner last month, quote, "Josh Sweat, he's out of here. I told him it's up though, because now we're in direct competition, because before I'm learning from you, everything, but now I've got to outrush him and everything like that." And then he continued on saying, quote, "I'm going to do what I did last year. Just put my head down, work, study some more film, ask more questions. I feel as if I can ask better questions now that I know a little bit more about the position and I've played and I've got some experience at it. Just ask my butt off, work my butt off." So judging by that, Hunt clearly has the right mentality, plus the potential is definitely there. So again, given a bigger role, I am expecting a huge leap from him in year 2. Moving on though, we got some more updates on the tush push, which trust me, I'm kind of sick of talking about it at this point, but Adam Schefter did give us some interesting insight during his appearance on 97.5 The Fanatic, as he basically said that although he doesn't necessarily agree with it, it looks like Commissioner Roger Goodell does want the play banned simply because he thinks it's a boring play, and typically the commissioner gets what he wants. And he also added that he thinks Goodell is going to work the owners over the next couple months and gain an additional 8 votes to get the play banned. Well, he also said that he does get the sense that a lot of teams are simply just jealous of the Eagles' play, that they can't stop it or do it, and that plays a factor in the whole thing as well. So at this point, it's whatever. Like, you guys know how I feel about this whole thing, but if they're gonna ban it, then just freaking ban it. And don't come crying when the Eagles abuse the normal QB sneak and still convert at around an 80 to 90% rate, because that's exactly what they were able to do before they started using the tush push anyway. But now, all that said, there is still plenty more news to come for the Eagles this entire offseason. Obviously, the draft is coming up here pretty soon, so if you guys don't want to miss any coverage on anything, then make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way, you're notified instantly when I upload a video or go live. Trust me, you guys are not going to want to miss any of it, so again, subscribe and turn on notifications, and also drop a like to show some support, because it really does help me out a ton. See if we can get to at least 500 likes on today's video, and also leave a comment down below just regarding anything that I talked about in this video. Do you think there's a chance that the Eagles could draft Walter Nolen? Again, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. And also, if you want to watch another Eagles video, you can check this one out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.